The Source engine was revolutionary when it came out with Half-Life 2, and the mapping tools it brought along with it allowed people to become what you could call unofficial architects. Today I want to take a look at everything that led up to this and what people are doing with the mapping tools in the present. The Source engine holds a special place in my heart and many others as well. If you somehow didn't already know, it was developed by Valve in a somewhat unusual way, using a lot of middleware and developing it part by part, which explains its somewhat volatile mechanics. The engine has its foundation in the Gold Source engine, which was also developed by Valve and used for games such as the original Half-Life. Gold Source is itself a modified version of the Quake engine developed by id Software in 1996. In other words, there are still bits of Quake code left in Half-Life 2. The history of custom maps and mapping in general is a bit obscure since there's not an actual archive or something similar that keeps track of these things. All we can say is that custom mapping started around the time when Half-Life was released, though there's no way of knowing which maps were the first. Half-Life was a groundbreaking and revolutionary game at the time, so there'd be no way people wouldn't be inspired to try working in the engine. After a long and futile search for some kind of archive in which I can see a history of maps made for Half-Life, I found nothing. I then decided to get some help from the Hammer subreddit. I asked if there are any places that have archives of the oldest Source or Gold Source maps, and after a few hours of waiting, I had gotten a few responses that helped me a bit, but not as much as this one person who linked me an interesting Russian site which does exactly what I need. They did archive the first maps ever created, but not the maps for Half-Life. Instead, they are all made for Half-Life 2 beta. Not only maps, but also mods and other things. There's a pack of maps made before the final HL2 version was even released, using an apparently leaked version of the Hammer editor. So after I download the beta version of Half-Life 2 and the map pack, I extract the files, install HL2, copy the maps and all the other files of the map pack into the game, and store it. I open the console and type out a map I picked out at random, and this is it. This is one of the first Source maps ever made. Just a bunch of bodies, melons, and other random objects lying on the ground, along with a cannon that launches you in the air right next to them. That's it. It's exactly what the name of the map implies it's about. This was made 15 years ago by someone probably just messing around in this cool new program that leaked around the time when Half-Life 2 was getting pretty hyped. Well, there's not much more to say about this map, so let's check out the next one. Alright, this one is just a racing track with a few playground objects scattered around. And for some reason a running Alex NPC, which of course I killed right away. Most of the maps I've checked out seem to be people just testing the capabilities of the Hammer editor by making really cool but gimmicky maps. Some people have added attachments to the pre-made vehicle asset that they had access to, such as hammers or saws. Other maps did other unique things, such as the map named Toys, where the mapper essentially created his own remote-controlled cars. Some maps are basically just mini-games, some of which look eerily similar to how you'd expect to see them in Garrys Mod. This guy just made a map with working physics-based ski lifts, with combines waiting to kill you at the end of the ride, for some reason. Some people had a go at making their own simple contraptions, such as planes or catapults. By far, my favorite gimmicky map is Robot Wars, which is exactly what it sounds like. You have an option to control one robot, which you use to fight other ones. The great thing about this is that it works extremely well. The robots get destroyed in parts, though sometimes they just explode right away, and the controls themselves are very straightforward and responsive. Most of these maps are great and interesting, but they're not really what I'm looking for. I want actual maps, whether they have a story or not. I want maps that look cool, feel cool, and directly represent what the community is capable of, even in this early stage. I want maps that challenge my idea of what was possible to create 15 years ago in an unfinished game with a shitty map editor. Fear not, my viewers, 90% of which aren't subscribed yet, because there are indeed these exact types of maps in this pack that I downloaded. CMP, Cannon Fodder, Old Manor. A broken down mansion in the middle of an unfinished city with errors growing from the lawn. This is exactly what I wanted to see. This is what I wanted to show in this video. These are the best examples of the first community maps ever created in the Source engine. Unplayable, unfinished, sometimes unfun, and bugged. This is the shit. There have been many test maps I have played so far, but these ones are my favorites, simply because they explore the gameplay aspect of the engine. Many of them do, indeed, fail miserably, but that's not the point. All that matters is that the mappers tried making something that you can play. Whether the maps are originally unfinished and bugged or are just corrupted is irrelevant. These are the first Source community maps. Let's go back to Half-Life 1 for a bit. While there aren't many known maps made for it, there have been many countless mods of the game, which still required many custom maps to be created. Mods such as Sven Co-op, with its focus on cooperation and custom storylines, and They Hunger, where the horror aspect of the engine is explored and is actually used pretty well to create a memorable experience that was expanded into 2 more episodes, which are as amazing as Half-Life itself, further inspired people to create even more mods, adding upon the level of complexity of last year's best. These places are quite literally the origins of Hammer editor mappers. One of these mods, which began as a passion project for a man who at the time was still studying for university, gained unexpectedly large amounts of traction and attention from the community after it was released, and would later be acquired by Valve and developed into a standalone game. I'm talking of course about Counter-Strike, the game which has always been huge and had a large following. Other than the classic bomb defuse game mode, many mods have been made for this game, some of which have thousands or even tens of thousands of custom maps made for them. Death Run, Gun Game, Surf, Zombie Escape, and so much more. While many maps are simple, they're all unique and creative in their own way, which makes them perfect for fun gameplays. Counter-Strike's map editor was relatively limited and simple compared to its successor, Counter-Strike Source. I especially want to take a look at Zombie Escape maps because, honestly, they are what got me into playing the game in the first place. Some of these maps are absolutely awe-inspiring and mind-blowing. Whether they're original maps or just recreations of locations from movies, some are so well made that even a kid born in 2008 who grew up only playing Fortnite and Apex Legends can acknowledge the fact that they look amazing. The best of these maps have bosses, scripted sequences, and map-wide gigantic events that even games like Battlefield had yet to incorporate. They were revolutionary, at least inside the community of CSS. These mappers created new worlds, stories, and most importantly, fun times. The rush of having a star explode into a hypernova right as you escape its sphere of influence, or having a dragon fly right above you as you run for your life inside a castle, or being the last few people alive running for that helicopter while zombies are just a few inches away from killing you, with a dramatic and probably copyrighted song piece playing in the background. This is what the maps that I care about are. CSS maps have continued to pop out in the following years, and even to this day, more are being made. After the end of this video, I urge you to search for CSS Zombie Escape gameplays on YouTube. Many of them, that is, the classic ones, have millions of views. Some are still being made to this day and are fairly popular, even though the size of the audience has dropped quite a lot.
But Saki, what about CSGO?
Well, there's not much to say about CSGO. It's kind of the same as it is with CSS, except it all looks better because it uses a newer version of the Source engine, and also because there are way more people playing CSGO than CSS, and inevitably there are going to be more aspiring mappers that show up.
Okay, now talk about Garrys Mod.
So Garrys Mod is probably the best game in which the peak of creativity has been reached in all of the Source engine games. Remember how I talked about CSS as if it has the best maps? Well, think about that, then multiply it by 100. Now you have Garrys Mod. It's unsurprising that this game has the coolest and most unique maps, since the entire point of it revolves around the idea of a do-what-you-want sandbox, where modding and mapping is not only encouraged, but is the only way in which you can actually do something other than play the default game mode. Thereby, the community content that appeared is just so fucking good. The variety of these maps are admirable. Some are remakes of old maps that appeared way before Garrys Mod was ported to a newer version of the Source engine in 2013, while others are new creations made using the power of the new Garrys Mod 13. There are just so many types of maps and I can't wrap my mind around how awesome they all are. Some are medieval, others are realistic, rural, destructible, ridiculous, post-apocalyptic, classy, fun, awesome, fantasy, creepy, abandoned, experimental, and so many more that I don't even know how to describe, but there are that many. So the conclusion here is that there is this lesser known part of Valve games, or mods of their games, where people can create amazing things. You could even call them architects. Of course, what architects and mappers do are very different, but there is one common thing between the two, and that is design. Some mappers genuinely have a good eye for what looks cool and what doesn't, and it shows. If you are a mapper, thank you.